Hi, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Nick Cosgrove, and I'm back this week with this week's No Filter Q&A. This is the episode where I answer questions related to diet, training, and supplementation that I've received from clients and online followers over the past 7 days. If you have any questions related to diet, training, or supplementation, please feel free to email them to me at nick@foreverfitperformance.com. Or you can also send them to me, DM them to me on my Instagram at @fitcosgrove_. I'm always happy to answer any questions. Also, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please do so. If you like the content and you like the Q&A that we've been putting out, I've been putting out for the last 2 months, please subscribe to the channel by clicking on the link below. Okay, so let's get started for the first question of the week. Hi, Nick. When I do squats, I feel the movement more on my right side than I do on my left side. As a result, I tend to squat slightly lopsided when I'm in the squat rack. Do you have any tips that can help me fix this issue? This is an uncommon issue I see with a lot of new clients that I work with. In this person's case, they're saying that they're pushing more with their right than their left. I'm assuming that you're right-handed. And that's very common for your dominant side to push more with dominant side, whether you're doing a squat or a bench press, any compound lift that you're using both arms or both legs at the same time, we tend to push more with our dominant side. And that's usually because we have a stronger mind to muscle connection with that side over our non-dominant side, which in most people's cases is usually the weaker side of the two. So what I usually recommend when I see that with clients who are doing exercises like squats, I'll get them to do other exercises like walking lunges, drag lunges to the left, drag lunges to the right, elevation lunges, depression lunges, step up, side shuffles, any isotonic exercises that I can get the client to do where they're working one side of the body at a time. That's what I'll get them to do before I even get them in a squat rack for, let's say, the lower body workout in this case. And the reason I do that is because I want them to create a stronger mind to muscle connection when they're fresh, when they come in for the workout. So if I'm working with someone like this person, for example, who is squatting lopsided, I'll get them to start their workout off with walking alternating lunges. And then I'll throw in some drag lunges to the left, drag lunges to the right. If you're not familiar how to do drag lunges, you can go to my Instagram. I have a few videos up there with leg workouts that you can watch. And I demonstrate how to do drag lunges. But that's what I recommend first, because that's going to help balance out the muscle bellies. And once you do all your isotonic work, then I would go into the squats, the leg press, the hack squat, the ball wall squats, any compound lifts. Do that for 4-6 weeks, and I guarantee you're going to create a much stronger mind to muscle connection in your left side. Okay. If you're only doing your compound lifts first, you're never going to fix the issue because you're going to constantly push with that stronger side, which in this person's case is the right side. So don't do the same thing. That's not going to fix the issue. Change up your workout routine, do your isotonic work first, then move on to your compound lifts. And I'm not saying stay with that forever, but stay with it until the issue corrects itself. And again, if that doesn't work, it might benefit you to work with a trainer for a few sessions just so that he or she can assess your form and technique and provide you some feedback. Okay, but that's what I would do if you're having some problems with muscular imbalances. Okay, next question. Nick, I'm sure you've spoken about this before, but could you please provide us with your thoughts on creatine? I'm considering using it, but would like your opinion on it before I start. So I would say out of all the supplements on the market, 90% of them don't work. But of the 10% that do, creatine is one of them. I'm going to give you my issue first with creatine and why I don't like creatine. I don't like creatine because I find that when I take creatine, I hold water. And I don't like the way I look when I hold water. I look bloated. I feel soft. I don't see the definition in my abdominals and my biceps and my chest. So I don't like that. So I don't take creatine. But why I like creatine, when I did take it, when I first started way back in the 90s training, I like creatine because I felt stronger in the gym. And the reason I felt stronger was because what does creatine do? It helps replenish your muscle bellies and it helps you retain water in the muscles. So it gives you that extra, what they call like the pump in the gym. So let's say you're bench pressing a 45-pound plate on each side, and all of a sudden you take your creatine and you're actually going to be able to push probably about 5-10 pounds more. And that's just because your muscle bellies are more hydrated. So it's not a magical drug. That's all creatine does. I always tell clients too, if you're going to take creatine, don't pay more than $50 for a tub of creatine. I remember when I first started using creatine, it was like $10 for a big tub of it. It's very cheap. So be very careful if you are buying creatine because there's so much crap out there that they mix it with flavors and sugar. Pure creatine should just be powder based, and it should be dirt cheap. Another thing, if you are going to take creatine, make sure you load it properly. And I believe there's usually about a 3 or 4 day loading phase. And I actually forget because it's been a long time since I've taken creatine, but I believe you load it for 3 or 4 days, 2 or 3 scoops a day. It'll say on the back of the creatine that you purchase. And from there, what I would do is after the loading phase is done, you can go to what they call like a maintenance phase. And again, when you're taking any supplements, I always tell this to my clients, run it for maybe 8 to 12 weeks and then come off it for 8 to 12 weeks. You don't want to stay on something year round. Okay, it makes no sense because your body will stop responding to it. So I have my love-hate relationship with creatine because I love the way I feel when I take creatine in my workouts. I just don't like the way I look because I do hold water and I don't like holding water. So I haven't taken creatine in probably 20 years, but it does work. Will it create crazy muscle gains? No, it's a supplement. You might put on 1 or 2 pounds of muscle, but if you take creatine and you put on 5 or 7 pounds in 1 week, don't be like, wow, that's amazing. 90% of that weight is going to be water weight. So it's not that you put on 5, 7 pounds of muscle. Not going to happen. Okay. So try creatine, see if you like it. It will work though. Yes, you will feel stronger after 3 or 4 days on creatine. Definitely. You're going to notice an increase in strength in the gym, 100%. Okay, next question. Hi, Nick. Is Stevia safe to use every day? Like, are there any negative side effects or health risks if you use 2 packets a day in my morning? If I use 2 packets a day in my morning coffee? No, stevia is completely safe. It's natural, right? It's much better for you than that processed sugar crap that people put in their coffee. Way better for you than Splenda or Equal or any of those artificial sugars. The problem with stevia for most people is it's too sweet for them. And so with those people, what I recommend is they scale back. So if you're someone who puts, for example, a tablespoon of sugar in your morning coffee, you're switching over to stevia, take a half a pack or even a quarter of a pack of stevia just to start, because it is very sweet. Another problem with stevia, a lot of people complain to me that it leaves a really bad aftertaste in their mouth. So if those cases, there's actually a brand that I recommend, and I'll put it in the link below. But it's a brand that I really like, and it's a Truvia blend of stevia. And so it's not too sweet, but it took me many years to find this brand. I had to trial and error with many different brands of stevia to figure out what I wanted. And this stuff tastes great. So it did take some time, but if you find a stevia balance that works really well, I would keep that in. As far as taking it every day, I see no problem with that. 2 packets is nothing. That's fine. You can definitely take that every day. I mean, I wouldn't take a large amount of anything, but 2 packets is nothing. And it's much better for you than processed sugar. Much, much better for you than Splenda or Equal. So yeah, I would consider if you're taking stevia twice a day, keep doing it. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's natural. It's natural. There's no adverse side effects of taking stevia. Okay, next question. Hey, Nick, my girlfriend and I broke up a few weeks ago, and I'm finding it really difficult to stay focused on my diet and training at the moment. I'm not hungry, have trouble sleeping, and can't motivate myself to go to the gym. Have you or any of your clients gone through this when you were going through a breakup? And if so, what did you do to get over it? Don't know why people keep sending me questions on relationships, but I have gone through breakups. So yeah, I guess I can answer this based on my experience. Anytime I've gone through a breakup with someone, I've actually buried myself in the gym. I buried myself in shows to compete. I cleaned up my diet. I focused more on my health. It was a good distraction for me at the time. Is that a healthy thing to do? Maybe not. It's probably good to address the situation, but I found it was a really good distraction for me to put all my energy towards my health, my fitness, and my business. That did help for me. I've had clients I've worked with go through breakups, go through divorces, and they seem to do the same thing. They tend to rely more on the gym, and it's something for them to do. It's something that's healthy for them to do, and they're working on themselves. Now, I can't give you a motivation to tell you what to do, especially if you're having trouble sleeping, because that can definitely affect your motivation levels. But I do find sometimes just changing up your routine too, that will help. So if you're training at the same gym when you're with your girlfriend and maybe she still trains there, switch gyms for just a few weeks, few months, or go to a different training time too. I mean, that can help too. That can make all the difference. If you're someone who works out, let's say at 6 in the morning, switch it up to training at 6 at night for a bit. Just change up the environment, and try that. Try a different training routine. Book a few classes with the trainer, or join a group class, or pick up some boxing if you've been doing weight training. just, I would really, if you're really having a hard time, breakup or not, just getting that motivation to get back into health and fitness, I would switch up everything just for a bit. Just to switch things and give you a little bit of shock and some variety in your training program and your diet too. But yeah, I find that works really well. Actually, I find breakups actually help with a lot of people when it comes to the gym. I notice in my clients' cases, because I've been doing this for 20 years, and I've seen people go through breakups. And at first it's really hard, but then when they start working on themselves and working on their health and their fitness, and they like the way they're looking, they tend to forget about the relationship as much. And they're like, well, who was that person again? So I'm not saying that's a healthy way to do it. I'm just saying that usually the gym helps with breakups, and working on yourself, whether it's your training program or your diet plan or both, that can be a good distraction in my opinion. All right, next question. Hey, Nick, I'm dealing with a strained pulled muscle in my rear delt/lat area. I've gone for 6 massages since I injured it training back a few weeks ago and still no luck. Any suggestions? Super common. This is really common, this injury. I see this quite a bit with a lot of clients I work with. And that injury located back rear delt lat area, almost or sometimes right on like the rhomboid area. And what I think that's usually from, in this person's case, they say it's from training back. That can happen during a back workout. It can also happen if you sleep funny, or if you're doing, let's say, a shoulder workout, unless you're doing some upright rows or shoulder presses, or if you're just doing anything and you haven't warmed up properly, or maybe you're just picking up your kid or something, and then boom, that injury happens. And what happens sometimes, it goes up into the neck too. So massage will help to a degree, but what I find works really well with any upper back injury is if you get a hard massage ball, like a lacrosse ball, you get them on Amazon, $5, $10, and don't just massage the area, but actually work through it. So what I'll usually do with my clients at the gym is when they're dealing with an injury like that, I'll get the massage ball and I'll either put it on the wall or I'll put it on the floor, and I'll get them to find the spot that's bothering them the most. Once they find that spot, I'll get them to do movements that we do in the gym. So whether that's bench press, shoulder press, lateral raises, rows, flies, but I'll get them to do that with the ball on the pressure point at all times. And make no mistake, it hurts like hell when they do it. It's very, very difficult to do because the muscle back there is aggravated, it's inflamed. So it doesn't like that movement, especially when you put pressure on the fascia. But what that does, it breaks through that fascia, it breaks through that tissue, and it'll actually reduce the inflammation over time. So I usually will have my clients do like a routine. If they're having an injury like that, I'll get them on a massage ball, and they can do this at home. They don't need me watching them, but I'll show them how to do it. And in my opinion, it's actually better to do it on the floor versus the wall, but you can do it on either. I just find the floor to be a little bit more, it's easier to maneuver on the floor, and you'll get a better contraction in that muscle belly. But I'll usually get them to do, for example, let's say I'll get them to do a bench press movement, no weights, just the movement itself, 15 reps. And I'll get them to do a fly, no weights, just the movement, then a shoulder press, lateral raise, the row. And it's like a circuit. And I'll get them to do that 15 reps of each exercise and repeat it 3 or 4 times with the ball on that area. 9 times out of 10, that will work. It might take 3 or 4 days, but it usually calms down the issue. You have to remember, it's not a torn muscle. So you actually can still put the ball on there and be, I don't want to say pain-free, but it's going to be painful, but it'll be bearable. And that should correct the issue. So that's the biggest mistake I see when people use the massage balls or even the foam rollers. They kind of just massage the area, which is good, but you should also be focusing on targeting that area by taking that muscle belly through the natural planes of motions that it should be able to do. At the end, after you've done all that, I would put a topical adhesive on the area. Tiger Balm, Voltaren, both work well. I prefer Tiger Balm. Sorry, there's an ambulance going on outside. But I find that works really well. So put topical adhesive on there 3 or 4 times a day if you can, to really just dig into that muscle. And if you can't do it, have a friend or your husband and wife put it on there for you. And that should actually correct the issue within a week's time, sometimes 3 or 4 days. Okay. But if massage is not working for you, that's what I'd recommend. Okay, next question. Hi, Nick. Are there any exercises that you can suggest to bring in my lower abs? I can see definition in my upper abs, but still have a bit of fat covering my lower abdominal region. Yeah, another common issue, especially with men, but women too. That's a hard area because we tend to accumulate a lot of our fat in our bellies, right? So a lot of guys and women will have really nice upper abdominals. But then when it comes to the lower body, that's an area a lot of people are they try to hide. you see like a lot of women on Instagram, they'll hike up their pants, they try to hide that area. Guys, they wear baggy t-shirts or something to hide that area. It's super common. So it's not necessarily an exercise that will help. There's two that I'm going to recommend, but I don't think that alone will fix the issue. You have to make sure that A, your diet's in check, and B, that you're doing your cardio on at least a consistent basis 4 or 5 times a week. Now, let's say you're doing both of those things. Then I'd be saying, okay, well, what exercises can I do to target the rectus abdominals and the transverse abdominals and the intercostals and obliques? Because I still want to work the whole entire abdominal region. So what I would be focusing on, though, for the lower abdominal region, I would be doing exercises like hanging leg raises and lying leg raises. If you have a lower back issue, whether it's a herniated disc or a slip disc, I would advise not doing the leg raises off the floor. I would do hanging leg raises. If you're not sure how to do those, you can go to my Instagram. I have videos of abdominal workouts. Just scroll through my profile and you'll find them. So I find those two exercises work really well for the lower abdominal region, but don't neglect training the upper abs. Even if you have great upper abs, don't stop training them. Still do your crunches, still do your reverse crunches, still do your bicycles, still do your sit-ups. Those work really well. You want to make sure that you keep your entire core strong. So it's not that the leg raises and the lying leg raises, the hanging leg raises is going to make all the difference. You have to make sure that body fat is fairly low, and you'll see those abs start to pop up. But the lower abs for me, when I used to compete, they were always the last to come in. My upper abs are there year round, but the lower abs were always the last few weeks before the show. That's when they'd really start to come in, when body fat would get lower. I was doing the same abdominal routine for 12, 16 weeks straight, but it wasn't until the diet got a little bit more challenging and the cardio was increased. That's when I started noticing the lower abs were starting to come in. Okay. Hi, Nick. What do you think about chiropractors? Do you think chiropractic care is beneficial, or do you think it causes more harm than good? I don't hate chiropractors. Here's my problem with quite a few chiropractors. A lot of chiropractors, the way they run their business is they'll see a patient for 30 seconds, 90 seconds, do a little crack, a little manipulation of the spine, and off they go. I don't like that. I think you're dealing with an area back there that is incredibly sensitive. You could cause long-term damage if you don't treat the area properly. And so when someone's seeing you for 30 seconds to 90 seconds and they're manipulating muscles back there and your spine's back there, I don't feel safe doing that. So I have problems with chiropractors that run their businesses like that. Now, I also know there's a few good chiropractors out there in this city who will book appointments with their clients, see them for a good 30, 45 minutes, and they assess this situation and they figure out a program that will work for that person. And then when someone comes in to see them, whether it's 3 or 4 times a week for a few weeks, they can help that person because they actually have done a full assessment properly. And they're working to help that person. They're not just taking money, and they can get as many people as they can fit in within the hour. That to me is very Mickey Mouse. It's almost like fast food takeout, like McDonald's of chiropractic care. McDonald's is a great business brand, but I wouldn't want them working on my spine. So I'm not against chiropractors. I just don't like how some chiropractors run their business. I could say the same thing for physiotherapists and personal trainers as well. There's a lot of people who are terrible in their industry. There's always someone who graduates at the bottom of their class. And there's a lot of good people in their industry. So I think you have to base on a case by case. But if I were looking for a chiropractor, I would be looking for someone who has excellent referrals, experience, and is known for actually sitting down with their client and assessing the situation and saying, okay, this is what we're going to do, and has a game plan. And I've known of 2 really good chiropractors, and they've always said to me, if I'm doing my job, my client shouldn't have to see me for 6 months straight. Should be a few weeks. I correct the issue. Yeah, they might have to come back once a month or once every few months to be realigned. But for the most part, they're never going to have to see me again, or not going to have to see me on a weekly basis. So that's my opinion on chiropractic care. If I can base it, I've never used a chiropractor myself. I've had clients that have gone to chiropractors, and I would say 8 out of 10 people that have gone to chiropractors that I work with don't go back. Now, that's not me saying chiropractors are bad or chiropractic care is not beneficial. Just based on my experience working with the general population, 8 out of 10 don't go back because either they've left feeling worse or it never fixed the issue. And they're just like, you know what, this is not helping me, and they don't do it. I guess, I'd have to know what the issue is with your back, and if you do see someone who is experienced, and how you feel. But I'm not against chiropractic care. I think a lot of people think I am, and I'm not. I'm just against certain chiropractors that treat their business like it's a fast food restaurant. In and out. I don't like that. Next question. Hi, Nick. I know that brown rice is supposed to be better for us, but I prefer eating white rice and it's lower in carbs. Does it really matter that much if I consume white rice over brown rice? Yes, it does, because white rice is high on the glycemic index. And I know I take a lot of heat for this from bodybuilders because they love their white rice. I have a lot of Asian clients too who love their white rice. And I'm like, okay, if you want white rice, have it, but you're not going to win an argument telling me that white rice is the same as brown rice. Not going to happen. What happens with foods that are high on the glycemic index, like white rice, is that after you consume, let's say you have a cup of white rice, you're full for about an hour. After that, what happens is your blood sugar levels start to fluctuate. They start to go a little bit higher. Any foods that are high in the glycemic index, that's what they do to your blood sugar levels. So what happens when your blood sugar levels start to fluctuate, get a little bit higher, you start to feel hungry. Even though your body's not hungry, you think you're hungry. So what do? You go for more food. You overeat. The argument I get from a lot of clients when they want to have white rice over brown rice is they'll say to me, well, Nick, white rice is lower in carbs than brown rice. So why can't I have it? I say, you're right. White rice is lower in carbs than brown rice. The problem is that, again, when you eat brown rice, it's nice and high in fiber. So brown rice doesn't make your blood sugar levels do this. It doesn't make your insulin levels do this. So if you're only looking at it from a macronutrient perspective, yes, white rice contains more carbs, white rice contains less carbs than brown rice does. That's true. But you have to think of it from a micronutrient perspective. And you have to think, okay, if I had that cup of brown rice, that might be 10 carbs more than a cup of white rice. I'm not going to be hungry an hour later. I'll be fine. You know, if I have my cotton brown rice at say 11 o'clock in the morning, I'm usually good for 3 or 4 hours and I feel fine. I feel great. I don't feel like my energy starts to crash at the end of the day. I don't feel like I need to overeat at night to make up for food. Like I feel fine all day long. So that's what's nice when you have foods that are high in fiber and are good complex carbohydrates like brown rice, quinoa, yam, sweet potato, oatmeal, cream of rice, because they keep your blood sugar levels like this throughout the day. And feeling like this throughout the day is a lot better than feeling like this, right? I don't want to feel like that. So that's why I recommend brown rice over white rice. And not just that, that's why I recommend yams and sweet potatoes over white potatoes. And I know there's people out there that will argue with me, and they can argue all they want, but I can tell you from experience and working with the general population, most people respond better when you have them having foods that are high in fiber, complex carbs, and the less white food you have, the better. Okay, white potatoes, white rice, white flour, white sugar. I don't have any of that stuff in the diet. I don't believe in it. Okay, next question. Another food question. Nick, I can't stand natural peanut butter. It tastes terrible and it's not sweet enough. Do you have any recommendations to alternative healthy fat sources that I can use? I would prefer to use regular peanut butter, but I know it's not good for me. Okay, so first of all, peanut butter should not be sweet. The only reason that you believe it should taste sweet is because you've been eating the peanut butter that has added sugar to it. Okay, so that's not good. The peanut butter that you refer to as regular peanut butter is not regular peanut butter. That's just crap peanut butter that they've been selling on the shelves for decades. That peanut butter is not good. I think it's about 8 grams of sugar for 1 tablespoon, way too high. And it's added sugar. Natural peanut butter is so much better for you. And if you're having issues with natural peanut butter, a big mistake I see a lot of people make when they first have natural peanut butter, they buy it and they get it off the shelf and then they open it and they eat it. And I'm like, well, that's disgusting, because all the oil, because it's natural, it rises to the top. So before you have that natural peanut butter, you need to stir it. And you need to stir it hard, like stir it for a good 2 minutes. Then what you should do before you consume it is put it in the fridge and leave it in the fridge. I have so many videos on Instagram that I've done over the years of all my peanut butter in the fridge. And people always ask me, why do you keep your peanut butter in the fridge? For that reason. So once I've mixed it, the oil doesn't come up again. And then the peanut butter actually tastes much better. Another thing I recommend is the brand of peanut butter you use. Just like the Stevia, it took me a few years to figure out which brand to use when it came to the nut butters. But what I like is a brand called Adams. And that brand is great. It's got 1 gram of sugar for a tablespoon. And it's 100 calories for 1 tablespoon, something like that. It's nothing. And right there, that works really well for me and for a lot of clients who I give peanut butter to. Now, if you don't want to have peanut butter, no problem. There's also other nut butters you can have: almond butter, cashew butter. Those are similar. They're low in sugar, low in carbs. Same thing, good healthy fats. Now, if you don't want any nut butters, or let's say you're allergic to nuts and you can't have almonds or walnuts either, then I would opt for something like omega-3 eggs, or you can have salmon, you can have avocado. So there are other options that you can have rather than just nut butters. I like the nut butters because they're easy to mix with food. I like to mix my peanut butter in with rice. That's easy to do. So that's what I'll use. You can also use omega-3 oils. You can use, MCT oil. That's another good healthy fat that you can add. Extra virgin olive oil, macadamia nut oil. So those are other options you can use if you don't want to have peanut butter. But I wouldn't recommend ever having the added sugar peanut butter. That stuff is just pure garbage. All right. Last question. Hey, Nick, would you ever consider opening up a membership-only gym for people to come in and train on their own? I know you have your private gym for your clients and trainers, but I'm curious if you ever thought about opening a large-based commercial gym. Vancouver is in desperate need of a good one, especially downtown Vancouver. I have a few clients that belong to gyms down here, and they've complained to me too in the past that the gyms are not well equipped. They're missing a lot of stuff that they like to use in their routines. They don't have enough of certain equipment. And you have to remember, downtown Vancouver alone is very expensive, right? So a commercial gym that's, say, 20,000 square feet downtown, their rent is astronomical compared to a 20,000 square foot gym out in the valley or out in Coquitlam or Surrey. So it's hard to find gyms in downtown Vancouver. And I think a lot of cities have that issue too. So when you go out further to the suburbs, you have more options to choose from. And also the gyms are a lot cheaper out there because, let's face it, I mean, property tax, real estate's much cheaper out there. You also have to look at who you're marketing to, so your demographic. So downtown, you don't have many bodybuilders per se, so it wouldn't make sense to open up a bodybuilding gym. As much as I would love to have a bodybuilding gym, I wouldn't be able to turn a profit if I opened a bodybuilding gym that marketed to bodybuilders when only maybe downtown has 5% of people who bodybuild. Doesn't make any sense. So you have to make sure that you read your demographic and say, okay, who am I trying to target? And I think that's in defense of the commercial gyms down here. I think they know who their demographic is and they're trying to target those people. So this person is a client of mine, and we've had this discussion before. And I have, and not that I agree with the commercial gyms. It's just that I understand why they do that. In my gym, we're a private training gym, and we can kind of bring in what we want, what I like, which, I don't really like machines. I like squat racks. I like cables. I like free weights. I like kettlebells. Those are stuff I like. So that's why I equip my gym with that stuff. If I were to open a membership gym, I'd have to change up the stuff that I have and add stuff to it so I could offer it to a wider demographic of people who I'm trying to market to. Would I ever open a commercial gym? Probably not. It's very difficult. Gyms don't generate much money. Especially membership gyms, you're always trying to offer sales and deals and get people locked in on long-term contracts. And I don't ever want to do that. Gyms are notorious for trying to sign people up for 1 year or 2 year contracts. And what happens is they bank on people signing those 2 year contracts and paying a monthly fee, even though most of those people will go to the gym for a few weeks and never come back, but they still have to pay that monthly fee because they signed the contract. I've worked in gyms for 20 plus years. I know what they do. I don't like doing that. I never want anyone to feel like they're locked into a contract with me. So what I do with my clients, and I've been doing this from day one, we advertise it on our website. I've said from day one, I said, any package you purchase, if you want to cancel your package, we'll refund you. No questions asked for any unused sessions. I never want someone to stay if they don't want to stay, or something comes up. Maybe someone has to move. Things happen, right? It's never happened with us, but I think people feel more confident booking with us because they have that option, right? Especially new clients. And that's what I don't like about gyms. And so I don't want to be involved in that. If I were ever to open up a membership gym, I think it would be a very small gym. And I probably would bring in really good equipment, but I'd probably charge a higher rate because it would be more of an exclusive facility. But as far as running a 20,000 square foot gym with all kinds of machines and equipment and having to deal with membership fees and complaints and all that stuff, I really have no interest in that. I've been approached by a few clients in the past about opening up a gym, and I just never had interest. I love my private gym. I find it's great. I know all our clients. I know all our trainers. And yeah, it's more personal. So yeah, no plans to open up a commercial gym in the near future. Maybe that will change, but for now, no, I'm quite happy operating out of my private training facility. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. As I said, if you have any questions, feel free to email them to me at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can also DM them to me on fitcausegrove_. And if you like the channel and you're liking these Q&As, please like and subscribe to the channel by clicking on the link below. Thanks everyone so much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.